Hi, this is Lauren.
Hey, Lauren, it's Todd. Do you have time?
Yes.
Okay. I spoke to Dr. Cooper Smith yesterday, and there was really basically a couple of main things that he had questions on based on what we've had so far. You did do a necropsy, but the results haven't come back yet. Did you know if they did the gross necropsy at your vets, or did they send the whole bird and had it done?
I did put the gross necropsy results came back, so I put the paperwork for that in that Google Drive folder. So the gross necropsy was done the day after he passed away, so May 15th. So we have
let me see if I can find together with you that that was something according to Cooper's. He did not see the gross necropsy. He saw where the necropsy was going to take about a month. He had mentioned. Let me see here. The Google Drive was on. So you sent that on. Let me get out of this. Go right into the stores AOL. Excuse me.
I think I sent it on the last week, Thursday or Friday.
Okay, I'm on Thursday. Here it is. Gross necropsy report Thursday. And let's see, I've got picture of the MR. Let me see. Attachment. Illinois report. Page 1 through 5. Is it on that?
Let me hold on a second. Let me pull open which file name was which. 1 second.
And I didn't see anywhere. It doesn't look like, or it wasn't seen. Did they do any blood workup on the bird? You know, to check the white blood cell count, liver enzymes, and things of that nature.
So yeah, that is the part that will take longer to come back. So the file that the necropsy, the gross necropsy report is in the file called U Illinois Report 1.
Okay, yeah, I got you. Yeah, that's what I'm opening. It says 221 gigabytes or whatever that is.
Yeah.
Okay, and which page is it? Starting on the page 1, emergency certificate, the discharge report.
Yeah, so there's the description of what happened, and then if you go down to page 3, that's where the gross necropsy report is.
Okay, hold on a second. Let me just read this real quick and then the blue. So you're saying the liver was normal. That was one of the things I was looking for. This is the spleen is enlarged approximately 2 times the diameter of the so I'm not quite sure what all that is. The kidney, testicles, glands are normal. Those are the findings of some brain. Diagnosis, spleen, splenology, body-wide, negative, balance, comments. Here we go, comments. I turn it sideways so I can see it better. Significant findings on gross examination include a decreased nutritional condition consistent with the clinical history and some splenomenology. I guess having to do with the spleen. The cause for these findings is not overtly evident by gross examination, and so further evaluation by hippopathogenous and portions of major organ systems are safe for preventive. Okay, so it looks like what we're needing to wait for is the necropsy report to come back because of what the one and only diagnosis that they were going with and making the assumption on is that the bird had psitticosis. So let's just say if a bird had psitticosis, which we've had everything else checked and there is no psitticosis showing anywhere whatsoever, it just something's not. It's just like my bet saying, like it just doesn't make sense is basically what it is. But let's just say for practical purposes that the bird had psitticosis. So he was being given the medication and the bird was appearing to be at the time when he was going unsymptomatic, I think is what you had stated.
Until he started losing weight. Right.
But putting him on first of all, dicycline, any of the tetracycline type of medications, given them orally, especially in macaws, will cause nausea and make them throw up. And what I was mainly looking for and concerned about is if he possibly aspirated. I'm not seeing anything stated on this about aspiration, anything on that.
And we did ask about that specifically,
right?
And they said that the lungs were clear, so that's good.
So the main thing is we need to get that necropsy report back and see what it says. For the bird to have died like that, it just doesn't make sense because of like psitticosis. Again, it just seems so highly unlikely. But if a bird has psitticosis and you're treating it with a doxycycline, that gets rid of the psitticosis. Psitticosis is treated like a bacteria, and the antibiotic kills it, and the bird would do better. So if the bird was on it for any period of time whatsoever, the bird would not be shedding or being affected by psitticosis if that would have been the case. So for the bird to all of a sudden crash like that, something is definitely not right, and that's why I'm trying to figure out, because like I said, I didn't see anywhere on there, and maybe you could point me to it. Did they do blood workup, for like the white blood cell count and showing like where the liver enzymes were? Now, of course, the necropsy showed the liver appeared to be normal, which is good. But see, psitticosis, it attacks the liver and it immediately causes the body to react where it produces a massive amount of white blood cell. So like, that's one of like the telltale signs. I remember from the years that like if a bird's sick with like an infection, you can have white blood cell counts that could be in the like low teens to mid 20s, and if it ever gets like in the 30s, it's like, okay, something is like either super extreme in this infection, or you're starting to look at psitticosis. I mean, I remember in the years seeing white blood cell counts in the 70,000s and in birds that were positive with psitticosis. And then you see, as I discussed before, you would see like a lime green, like a fluorescent. It looked almost like a neon color in the droppings, and you would see it. You would definitely see that in the liver with the liver enzyme test, and even in a gross necropsy, you would see some changes in the liver, and you're not seeing any of that. And the only other thing that I said, if you had the white blood cell count, to see if there was any elevation on that.
Right,
So
and that we don't have yet. So that was
well,
sent
the
out.
white blood cell would have been blood workup done when you took the bird in to have the workup done when you first got him.
Oh, yeah. Well, he
I
did
didn't
have.
see that.
No, he did. There is that file is the results for that are called. Let me see what the file name is.
Can you do me a favor if you see that particular file, just so I don't get lost up with the blood, showing blood work? Because we couldn't find, or I didn't see, but the vet didn't see anything that showed blood work. It showed all the other stuff, that like where you did the psitticosis test, you did the what's that other virus test, and that was negative, Borno, and it showed that, but it didn't. He said he didn't see any of the blood workup, an avian profile is usually what they call it, or just even a white blood cell count, which is normally what you'd want to do if you tested a bird that came back positive psitticosis. You'd want to get a white blood cell count to see, to verify and just, to see where the bird would be at.
Yeah, I gotcha. I will send you the page 3.
Is it on that same file?
No, it's not. It's under the Yondu Madar summary, April 7th, 2021. So that one.
So I'm trying to open up all these other ones. Okay, I'm not seeing.
It's on a page titled Antech, but I'll
send that to me, and then that way I can send that right over and quickly get it looked at from the vet. But the other thing I know he's just wanting to wait for is that the necropsy itself result. But seeing that gross necropsy, one of the questions is if it looked like it was aspirated, and it doesn't appear so. So based on that and what they're saying, there wasn't anything that can determine from the gross. So we're waiting for the tissues to come back. Because it just doesn't make sense. If you were to ask any anybody in the avian field, and you could literally, my vet would sign an affidavit. We hadn't had a positive psitticosis on any, even parakeets, cockatiels, any kind of bird in this store, in the Delran store that we moved out of, and the last time was in a cockatiel many years ago in our old Cinnaminson store. And it was just isolated to that.
And I get that, and I'm this could.
I'm not saying that anything's not impossible, but there's just some stuff that is extremely unlikely, and we've been in contact with that breeder, and everything that's been tested, there's been no signs of anything like that, and so I'm just curious to why the bird is no longer alive, because let's just say if it happened to have been psitticosis, that would not have killed the bird, especially if it was being treated. It doesn't. It never. It would have. You know what I mean? It never would have. And so if you did have the blood cell, let's look and see where that white blood cell was.
Yeah. So, and we have the spleen was enlarged, and so that might have something to do with the if he did have psitticosis, which that we do have the test results on that. So the thing is we do have that the necropsy was done at a university hospital. They are going to be the ones that get back to us with the additional report on any of the organs and the blood work.
Exactly, and that's what we're waiting for.
So I guess I'm wondering, once we get that report, we'll do some next steps then. But if he did have psitticosis, which it seems like he did due to that test.
Let's say if he had psitticosis and the bird died from psitticosis, the bird would be fully covered. There's no question about that, okay? It just doesn't even begin to make sense. I've never seen a bird in 39 years being in business. I mean, back in the 90s, you saw psitticosis a lot because of the imported birds,
right?
And nobody properly tested. And then there was a period of time in the 90s, late 90s, that they started coming out with psitticosis tests that were just so inaccurate that people got a reputation for being like this Dr. Goodman and Dr. Clark, both women doctors. They were called the psitticosis queens because everything had psitticosis, and it never had psitticosis. And it was so bad we literally had to, put it on paper that we do not stand behind any results, from those two particular vets. It was that bad. Because if they made a lot of money, and then, which is shocking on this situation, is what they would do. Normally, the proper way to treat for a bird that's positive psitticosis is injectable doxycycline.
Right.
I think it's like once a week or something.
Yeah, you mentioned that last time, but I did. So, regardless about psitticosis, if the test came back positive, so even if he was carrying it, if that...
Well, tests, first of all, no. Tests do not give you 100%.
I got you. Wait,
that's what I'm trying to say,
Let me finish.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, that's not to say that was the ultimate cause of death, so, we don't know.
And it's still not to say that that's 100% accurate.
I got you. But my point is that...
That's all I'm saying.
I got you. So my point is that, even if he had a genetic heart problem, if he had something that we don't know yet because we don't have the organ results, there's, we need to kind of figure out...
If the bird, let's find out what happened on the bird. If the bird had a problem that was obviously, a problem that would have caused the fatality in the bird that was prior to you buying it, there's no question about it. We will stand behind it. I stand behind everything. You see my reputation.
Yep.
I am not here to try to argue with you or anything like that, by no means. Please don't misunderstand me. It's just, I think, because this is like literally the first time I'm hearing the word psitticosis in decades, it's like, okay, this is definitely not normal, and it just, from basically seeing a lot of this stuff, it just seems like it's not really it seemed like it was taken from one place to another and the test stuff, like one person took the test and then sent it someplace else, and then that seems like it was almost like almost a third time it was sent to to the final destination. So it just, there is room for errors on testings. That's why there's more than one direction to it's like, okay, like let's say on the Borno, this is a common concern that we have to deal with in today's world. 48% of the birds that you test for Borno come back positive for the Borno test. There are 9 at minimum strains of Borno that are out there. Only 2 of the strains of Borno are the disease that birds can get, which would be considered as macaw wasting.
Right.
Okay. Now, up until the last year or two, that test, you had no idea. It was just like, okay, it tested positive for that, so what does that mean? It meant nothing. Now they've got this other test, and I'm trying to remember, it's 3 letters. But AGA, the AGA part. Now, if you take a bird and you get it tested, for Borno, and you do the AGA, and if that comes back positive, then you got a problem. If that comes back negative, again, on all tests that matter, positives or negative, you can't say nothing 100%. It's just most likely. So in other words, if the AGA is negative, most likely your bird is definitely, if it's acting sick and so forth, it has nothing to do with Borno. It has something to do with something else. So that's the thing. It's like, with us selling these birds, and you get really good vets out there, and you get some vets that aren't great,
I gotta wrap up this call. So let me just say, say one thing. So when you said that the test had changed hands several times, so when the vet that I was seeing was a teaching vet at University of Purdue, a vet hospital, and he sent the test to a lab at the University of Georgia. So that's really the only thing that was sent out.
And University of Georgia is the one that did the Psitticosis testing, right?
Correct.
Okay. Then he must have saw something differently as far as it looked like there were 3 different parties involved. Maybe it was some other part of the workings that was being done on that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, because there were a lot of files. Yeah, there were a lot of files included in the same report. So I'll separate that out and I'll send that to you so that we can organize it a little bit better. But
no problem. And then when you get the necropsy report back, also I'm sure your vet will go over it with you as well, and we'll go with it from there. And then let me also just let you know right up front. Let's just say the report came back and it says, that the bird died from something that had absolutely nothing to do with us. Absolutely nothing. Clear as a bell. I still will take care of you. I'm not going to make money on another bird on you. Okay? That's another thing that we don't do. We, unless you did something that was just flat out stupid, like leave the bird in the car and they're being cooked, just something absolutely stupid, you're on your own.
Yeah.
But, when something that, a good person is doing everything right and something happens and it's just, there isn't any finger pointing to it, we're taking care of you still. We're not going to lose money, but we're not going to make money.
Okay, I appreciate that.
So don't let me, end this with you thinking that he's just trying to buy time to just, blow me off, and that is absolutely not the case.
No, this is like one of the most complicated things I've ever seen health-wise.
Well, and that's why I'm giving you my own personal cell phone and everything, because I want to make sure we do this properly.
Right, absolutely.
We sell a lot of birds, and on occasions, very rarely, there's a problem that'll end up happening, and and to be quite honest with you, the most complicated issue right now that in this industry is that bornavirus, because of that, we've redid our guarantees because of you getting too many vets out there that get birds that come back positive on that one test, and then they're exploiting that as some kind of a big issue when it's not, and it's still in the earlier stages of, it's like when they first came out with polyoma testing and when they first came out with the psitticosis. It just takes time to really dial it down. It's like beak and feather, even they got it down pat really nice now. For years they didn't, so being in it for so many years, it's just like you've seen all this stuff, and it's like, and that's why I wanted to personally handle your situation.
I appreciate that. So
you enjoy the rest of your day, and rest assured we will do whatever is right to do.
Okay, thanks, Todd, and I'll let you know when I get those files, and then when I hear back from the University of Illinois on the rest of the testing.
Okay, dear. Thank you very much.
Thanks again. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.